I want to play for you guys some of the coolest and most incredible blues rhythm guitar playing I've ever heard. It comes to us from George Benson. He's one of my heroes, maybe one of my top 3 guitar players of all time. This stuff is so good, and we can put it into regular blues playing too, as long as we slow it down, which is what we're gonna do in this video. Whenever I talk about George Benson, people usually think of the Breezin' era, or as he sort of, broke off and became more of a pop jazz vocalist, and the guitar kind of almost took a back seat. But man, George is an icon, a legend, and you gotta check out his old stuff. You'll really see what I mean and why he is such a badass. So the tune that we're gonna check out is Benny's Back, and it's from the George Benson Cookbook record, and it is a masterclass in blues rhythm. It's an up-tempo jazz blues in C with a 2-5-1 turnaround, but the 2 is dominant in this instance. So we'll talk about how to navigate some of that. I actually tabbed out the first 12 bars. You guys can download that in the links below. I can't give you the track because, well, it's his music. You can go find it. So this record was recorded in 1967, and they obviously didn't have the recording technology we have today. That's actually a good thing for us because we can take the track, throw it into my amazing slowdowner program here, and I can isolate the left side so we can hear George's parts. So this is helpful when we want to pick this kind of stuff out, and occasionally on these jazz records and some old rock records, you can do that, and there's software now where you can pick stuff out, but this is sort of like the old school way. We're just gonna hear one side of the recording. Now I wanna caution you again, this is really fast. It is a jazz blues progression, so keep that in the back of your mind, and I'm gonna kind of mime along just so you can kind of see where he's at, right? And then we're gonna break it down, I'll play to it, and we'll teach the first like 12 bars. All right, here it is, let's go. Benny's Back. It's the melody. Rhythm. Well, it's called the Cookbook for a reason. We're gonna bring the mix back to center. I'm gonna try to play along with the band, and we'll play over top of it. I'll play what George is playing. They start without a count off, or at least there's no count off on the record, so cut me some slack, because I gotta catch up, so wish me luck. Here we go. Man, that is enough. I can't tell you how long it took me to actually transcribe that. First, I had to like really dig and hear all those parts. But man, it is really illuminating to me. And it goes with all of the blues rhythm stuff I normally teach on the channel. So let's take the first 12 bars, break it down, and talk about maybe using it in a shuffle or something that's not over 200 beats per minute. Okay, let's check it out. So before we dive into the 12-bar rhythm thing we're going to pull from this example, I want to talk to you about my 1961 Epiphone Casino that goes right to my 2-Rock TS1. It's a very clean amp for this type of sound, and it goes directly to an aux box, then out to your ears. The aux box helps for silent recording and is safe for the amplifier. Now, I did a video on Epiphone Casinos, and we talked about how to get different sounds from it, and we're actually giving the import casino away. So you have 1 day left. This is the last day for the contest, so check out that link below. We've been running it for about 30 days, and we talked about some jazzy tones you can get by going on the neck pickup and turning the volume control down about 1/4 of the way. That takes the harshness off of the pickup. Great for this kind of stuff, but still gets plenty of string attack noise and some highs. If I turn that up all the way, it starts to overdrive the front end of the amp a little bit. So I give less gain from the guitar, the amp acts appropriately. But it was great for this stuff. Yeah. So that's how I'm getting the sound. Again, check out not only the contest, but the video on the casino. The first thing we have to do is understand the chord progression, and I'm gonna lay it out with some very simple dominant 7 chords, maybe a 9th thrown in. So if we're playing a blues in C, this is all gonna be dominant, okay? And we're gonna say 1, 6, 2, 5, stuff like that, but know that they're all going to be dominant chords. And that's totally acceptable, particularly in this way of speaking on the bandstand. It's a 1, 6, 2, 5. You know, 2, 5, 1s are dominant, that kind of thing we would say. Just as hints and shortcuts for the band. But if we're playing a C7, that's our 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the F9, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're gonna do this. Play C7 chromatically all the way down to A7. And that we would call the 6th. The 6th in this case is dominant, being that it's an A7. Now we're going to do a 2, 5, 1 in C, but it's going to be all dominant chords. D7, G7, then a 1, 7, 6, A7, 2, 7, D7, and then G7. So that's your bass line. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, down to the 6, 2, D7, 5, G7, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. And George navigates this, like we heard, in an insane manner. It's so good. All right, so let's check that out. So the beautiful thing about playing a chord progression like this is that you can embellish. It's like a blank canvas for your 7ths, your 9ths, your 13ths, and so on. So we're going to talk about what George does, and the cool thing is just in 12 bars of teaching it, you're prepared for more of the stuff he does if you're so brave to try and figure it out. So we're going to talk about what he does first with my favorite little chord shape here. Now, a lot of people call what I'm about to play shell voicings, and I try to not put too many names on things. I just want to call it a C7. And that's all it really is, because if we took this chord and we took those 3 notes, which is B flat, E, and G, but we played it like that, almost like you play a D chord, but down here, or up here, that's still a C7. And when you're cooking at that tempo, you don't have time to play these big chords, and it just doesn't sound good anyway. This is stuff that's very synonymous with the great jazz guitar player Freddie Green. So what George does, and he also does a lot of, I'm going to assume, hybrid picking. This is how I do it when I play this stuff. And I kind of assign fingers on my right hand to those strings. So he goes a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2. So he goes a half step below, and he comes up. So when it's fast, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5. Now what he's going to do to get to the 4 chord is he's going to play a little 13 shape. So we had the flat 7 in the 3rd, that still stays the same, but we're going to add that A to give us the 13 sound. Notice we're not doing that, we're doing this. Now a cool thing that's going to happen is you can play these altered dominant chords when you're going to a 4 chord. So you can play 13, I like to call that a G7 sharp 5. Some people call it a flat 13. And I'll play an F9, but I might not play all those notes. I might just play those strings that I'm on with my right hand. So from the top, a 1, 2, a 1, 2, shell voicing, which I don't like to say. A 2, 3, 4. Now he goes little half step slide back and forth into that 4 chord. Okay, so from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, shell. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to take that 3-note 7th chord, walk it down chromatically. Because that's going to get us from the C7 down to the A7. Okay, so it's just ba, 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 ba. Notice my right hand staying the same. the whole time. Now it's going to be a 2 dominant, which means D7, and all he does is go, one of my favorite things to do. This is right down Freddie Green alley. We're going to play the F sharp and the C that belong to like a D9 or a D7 chord. Because that's our D7, you can hear it. Right? Then what he does is he plays, because we're going to go to a 5 chord next, D7 to the 5 chord, he's going to play a G6 type of shape, which is G, B, and E. And he does 2 chords, G6, and he does this little thing here because that's like a G9 sus or a G11, some people call it. But he takes just the F and the A notes. These are all great 5 chords. D7, G7, C9, G9 sus. Hear how it leads back to the 1? So from this thing, C7 chromatically down to A7, A7 just 2 notes, comes from that, or this. Now we're going to do 2 chords. We're going to sneak a 6 and a G9 sus, you could call it, or a G with an or F with a G in the bass. It gives us that real anticipatory type of sound, because it wants to go back to the 1. Okay? And what he does is he actually plays the triad here on the 5th fret. That's a C, because we need to get ready for 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. It's amazing how fast his brain operates. It's so, so amazing. So C, now we're going to play that 2 chord A7, comes from that. Walk it down, because that's, look what that is. This is why I love this stuff. It's awesome. That's the F sharp and the C for the D7. So it's A7, D7, G7, C7. You follow me there? A, D, G, C. I use this stuff all the time. I used to play in a swing band many, many years ago, and all we used to do is that kind of stuff all the time. So when I dissected this, I was like, man, this is right up my alley. So from the top, a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2. We're gonna go ah. Let's do that one more time. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2. Now we're gonna do 13. Yeah. Yeah. So when we do that turnaround to G6, all you do to imply that chord, I played the full chord in that example, all you gotta do is play those 2 notes, which is an F and an A. And really, it works against the G chord because that's a flat 7, and that's the 9, okay? So, there's our progression. So could we take those ideas and put them into a slower shuffle, maybe closer to like 120 beats per minute or something like that? Yeah, and we could actually probably play more because the tempo's slower. That tempo's so fast that George is picking his spots and it's just these little stabs here and there, which is what makes it so cool and impressive. But if we slowed it down, I'll try to play exactly what we played. You know, I might change it a little bit here and there because of the speed. So we'll go a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, a little more. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Let's walk it down to the 2. maybe go here. Right? We can add it to our playing. So grab that tab and really try to get some of this under your fingers, particularly at a slower tempo, and I think it's gonna make a lot of sense. At least I think you'll be able to see where it's going, even if you can't play it right away. Okay, for fun, let's try it once more with George. We'll take the end of the melody here and see if we can play the 12 bars. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fun. Yeah. So I don't think George Benson will probably ever see this, but if he does, I hope that he's at least tickled by the fact that his rhythm playing really speaks to me, and I'm just tickled by it, man. It is a really, really fun thing to check out in depth, and we can see that by breaking it down, it can really add something to our own rhythm playing. So don't forget, you can grab the tab for the 12 bars that we taught. Check out Benny's Back from the Cookbook record. It's so, so good. I recommend checking out anything from Benson, especially if you're just slightly interested in jazz guitar. He's a good gateway for it. He's really funky. He's got all the swagger and soul, and plus, obviously, he's an amazing singer, too. I love giving all the stuff away like tabs and tracks. It's really fun to interact with you guys. The only thing I ask is that if you would consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the notification bell, I'd be really, really appreciative of that. That way it helps us keep the channel going, keeps the videos out there in the algorithm, and I can see you guys on a regular basis. All right, this is all for now. Go ahead and shed some 12 bars of Benson, and I'll see you next time.